Hello everyone and welcome to another high-low game of Age of Empires. Today the weather pendulum in Toronto has swung back to gray, cold and rainy, and that is just a-okay for yours truly, because I get to stay indoors to watch Hera playing as the Incas in blue take on MbL playing as the Malay in red. Now all the players herd their herdables, explore their immediate surroundings and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP. A pretty damn good time for us to take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today. Now, the Incas are the quintessential counter civilization. To counter cavalry, they can rely on their first unique unit, the Kamayuk, a ranged infantry unit that carries a very, very long spear and comes with a pretty massive attack bonus against all mounted units. If your opponent goes infantry, well, then the Incas can rely on their other unique unit, the Slinger, an archer unit that comes with a big attack bonus against infantry, and which can be upgraded even more to get a small +1 attack boost. Now, will your opponent go archers? And then in that case, you can rely on the Incan Skirmisher, which not only comes with all archery range, blacksmith, and university upgrades, but can be upgraded to have absolutely no minimum range whatsoever, which does take away one of the big weaknesses of the Skirmisher. Now, to make the Incan army last even longer on the field of battle, no, they do not take Viagra. What they do take is an upgrade called Fabric Shields, which increases both the melee and pierce armor of all of their Kamayuks, their Slingers, and Eagle Warriors. Now, to help you build your military-industrial complex, start pumping out that army you need to start overwhelming your opponents, all Incan military units cost less and less food as the game goes on, all the way up to 25. Pardon me, I was about to say 30, but I think that's the old discount. 25% cheaper in terms of food cost in Imperial. They do start the game, if you caught it in the beginning, with a free llama underneath their town center, which doesn't sound like much, but does give them an extra unit to explore the map with, or at the very least, 100 free food for free. Their buildings cost 15% less stone. Their houses support 10 population space instead of the usual 5, which does free up a little bit of wood in early to mid-feudal, I find, for perhaps some archer play. And last but not least, their villagers are harder to raid because starting in Castle Age, they benefit from all infantry blacksmith upgrades. And by the way, the Incas get all infantry blacksmith upgrades. Let's take a look at the Malay up top in red as Hera pushes. What are we pushing today? Looks like gazelles over here. Primarily a naval civilization, but one that comes with a few late game land features that are incredibly powerful. To start with, their battle elephants become progressively cheaper as the game goes on. 25% cheaper in Castle, 35% cheaper in Imperial. They get all infantry armor upgrades for free. So we'll take a look at the top right of our screen. The second MbL hits Feudal, that first square will light up, then Castle, then Imperial. Always fun to see Civ bonuses and features carried out in real time. Their militia line units can be upgraded to cost no gold at all, only food. So even though they don't get champions, when you combine this upgrade called Forced Levy with the supplies upgrade, well, that essentially turns their two-handed swordsman into a fairly cheap trash unit that only costs 65 food. Now, speaking of fairly cheap trash unit, infantry style, their unique unit is definitely a unit that comes in handy. Oh man, this gazelle has a mind of its own almost. As I was about to say, their infantry unit can be, their rather unique unit is an infantry unit that can be used to absolutely raid the ever-loving hell out of their opponents. I'm talking about the Karambit Warrior, an incredibly cheap, super fast, but on the whole, overall kind of weak infantry unit that only takes up half a population space, Zergling style. And so if you've got 50 of them, they only do take up 25 population room. Now, in order to help you get these late game land features, units, upgrades, all the power of the Malay in the late game, well, the Malay, they go up to the next age 66% faster than normal. So you can either rush to the next age or focus on your economy, stroll around the map, maybe take a little bit of a break, tour around, find some trees, find some beautiful lemon bushes with the pretty blue butterflies, and then catch up to your opponent fairly quickly, because that is a huge... What am I looking for? Not discount, a huge, oh my God, the word just flew out of my mind. It is a huge benefit, obviously a huge thing to go up to the next age. But for example, to get up to Feudal for Hera, will take 130 seconds for the Malay. For MbL, 78 seconds. So they really do hit the gas pedal, which does allow them to go up, perhaps with more villagers. In this case, MbL choosing not to go that route. He has the exact same number of villagers as his opponent, which means he will hit the next age much quicker than Hera. By the way, Speaking of the next stage, speaking of Hera, speaking of all of this, let's take a look at the bases, as both players should be in Feudal in the next couple of seconds. Primary gold for our Inca in the forward position, but with two flanking forests not super exposed. I'm expecting perhaps some kind of structural wall off here to the north. To the south, we've got the primary gold, both secondary and tertiary gold, or rather stone, pardon me, both secondary and tertiary gold off campus. It looks like we've got ourselves our first scuffle of the game, and the first kill goes to our Malay, whose Billy Club wielding militiaman kills the Billy Club wielding militiaman of Hera. Although maybe it was the scout. No, it was in fact the scout. There you go. I think it was a game recently. I couldn't for the life of me figure out whether it was a Castle, a Mangonel, or a scout or pikeman. I forget which one it was that killed a ship in the Hera Mr. Yo game. And I went back and I looked at it and I still couldn't figure it out until I actually clicked the unit and the structures and saw the kill counts and stuff. Sometimes things happen so fast in this game. Although sometimes, to be fair, I just miss it. Don't tell anyone, you know, that the caster admitted that sometimes he misses things. But as we saw, additional gold off to the bottom right. Where's your additional stone? Very far off campus, exposed. 1, 2, 3. Let's call this 4 forests in a nice position, actually, to wall this base off. And let's take a look at MbL's base as Hera continues to try to aggress here with his Eagle Scout that is basically dead, and the militia that is not basically dead, but MbL might want to yeah, he might not want to take this battle here. Let's take a look. Primary gold and stone, nice and secure to the back. Where are your additional resources? Oh, but secondary gold and secondary stone both exposed to the front. Additional tertiary gold off to the side, but kind of to the rear position, so in no risk of really getting attacked that strongly. Got a bit of a militia run by here for MbL as well. We'll see how much he can get done. Hera outnumbers MbL here 3-1. So unless MbL runs home, nope. He gets triple teamed. And that's what happens in Age of Empires. When you get triple team in the early Feudal Age, your unit basically dies. His forests, a little bit more skewed to the left side of his settlement than Hera's, which seem to come in a never eat shredded wheat's perfect location for wall off. These three are all to the left side, which means there's going to be a big wall off here to the south, and another forest adding a bit more to the wall off. So both players, not a terrible base spawn. Hera's primary gold a little bit forward, MbL's secondary gold a little bit forward. House in the Feudal Age will take, remember, with negative melee armor, it does take a bit more damage. We'll see how quickly this tower can get up, actually. Ooh, the skirmishers, can they not reach the villagers? What do I feel like they can reach the villagers here, unless he doesn't have upgrades. Oh, he doesn't have any upgrades on them, that's why. For some reason, I thought he had fletching. Not too sure, but there's that box unchecked. And by the way, there is to the top right of our screen, scale mail armor, the first armor upgrade for infantry. Very much checked for the Malay, who is currently massing 500 food. Hera also has 500 food, but he has a bit more gold than our Malay. And even though our Malay's gold is nice and secure to the back, by the way, I think Hera must have seen... Yeah, Hera's already seen the gold. He hasn't seen the location of the stone. He is going to see the wall off here to the rear. Never mind. Wrong call number 7 of this video. And we're only at the 15-minute mark. So don't worry, there's still plenty of time for me to get things wrong. Blacksmith in a house, the secondary structure. What's the primary for going up to castle is the market for MbL. Hera, an archery range, and that's it for now. He's got the 228 wood that he needs to build whatever the hell he wants to build, but he might want to start construction rather soon, though. He's almost at 650 food and almost at the 200 gold that he needs to go up to Castle Age. I'll keep an eye out on the minimap if I see a blue square with a white outline. There it is. Okay, so blacksmith for Hera, immediately 3 villagers. And this is a little sour for Hera because now he's got the resources basically to go up to Castle Age, but he's got to wait a few seconds to get this blacksmith. It just shows you how much he's microing on this side of the map, focusing on the aggression. And MbL goes ahead to castle. Let's take a look at the difference in up times. Hera, 160 seconds, just under 3 minutes. 160, not 116. MbL, the Malay, 96. So a full minute ahead of his opponent. Assuming they click at the same time, which they didn't. By the way, MbL clicked up first. And so he's going to be a little bit over a minute ahead of his opponent. Although they did click up roughly at the same time. Palisades are down. House is in trouble. Interestingly, if Hera attacks this one palisade, he should be able to bust in here because there's an alley. There's a laneway between these two houses. Instead, he's focusing on the blacksmith. I mean, you know you're not going to get that blacksmith with a Feudal Age army, right? I'm a little bit surprised that now he's focusing on the house. Why not on this one palisade? Has he actually seen the wall off to the rear? No, also hasn't seen the stone. And now the house no longer has negative melee armor. -2 in Dark Age becomes -1 in Feudal. And -1 in Feudal becomes 1 in the Castle Age. So now he's definitely not busting in through this house. But contingent of archers moves forward. The Inca, remember, they get a food discount on all their units, all of their military units. And so archers not really benefiting from that whatsoever. And here we go. Malay Knight is out. Should be able to shoo away this army. Because we're not in Castle Age, these Eagles do not come with a cavalry attack bonus yet. But take a look at this in 4, 3, 2, 1. Boop. Look at all those attack bonuses that come into play in Castle Age for these Eagles. Absolutely fantastic unit. Such a versatile unit, which kind of explains why literally every infantry unit in the game has an attack bonus against the Eagles. Although attack bonus is not really necessary when you've got 2 full knights. No bloodlines even necessary. No bloodlines possible for the Malay, who are now in Castle Age and therefore chainmail armor. That box has now been lit up. Hera with 2 extra town centers, 1 to the left, 1 to the right. This is for the wood and the farms. This is for the wood, the farms, and the gold. And he has upgraded his archers to crossbows. Have they seen the castle? Yeah, he's seen the castle. Oh, the last thing you want. Oh my goodness, I was going to say his Karambit warriors, but here they come. Oh, you gotta love this unit. Weak, fairly slow initially, but if you can mass them, holy moly, can they overwhelm enemy units. Just imagine being surrounded by 7 or 8 Karambits all attacking you at the same time, and MbL is not relenting. He's going up to 9. He's even adding a mangonel. Okay, so he's going to try to soften up the crossbows initially with maybe a lucky strike or 2. But if he can't do that, then overwhelming them with Karambits is not a bad, you know, silver medal. I'm still trying to, by the way, find the word for that I was looking for in about 15 minutes ago. Again, it's not a time discount. It's a shortening of time that the Malay... I don't know why I'm having so much difficulty with this one particular word. F you to this gazelle. Everyone in the comments explains to me that the pro players always kill the animals on the map so that it doesn't affect their pathing accidentally. They might right-click on the gazelle. I don't know. I don't buy that. I think they're just... I think they just don't like to have low APM, and so their fingers get very, very itchy. Like me when I pass by a Domino's and all of a sudden I feel like an itch in my soul that says you have to do something. You can't just not act at this moment. And so that's exactly what the pro players... By the way, speaking of pro players, Hera with the scouting sees Karambits. Will he see the villagers? He sees the villagers moving out. By the way, MbL does not have 650 stone. He barely has 2 gold coins to rub together. So he is not getting a castle up anytime soon. What are these villagers moving out for? This is how quickly Karambits die. They're just getting one-shotted by these crossbows. But uh-oh, this is a very dangerous situation here for Hera. Oh, there's luckily for him a gap in the forest, and so he can run away. MbL sends his Karambits on this side of the forest. Ooh, I feel like that tickled away at some of the HP there. Perhaps he should have gone around the Turtle Lake this way to try to stop Hera from going. Did MbL, by the way, I mean, now he's scouted it, but it looks like he's already seen that gap in the forest. Okay, now he's up to 550 stone. Never mind. Did he just... He sold stone for gold. Okay, so he's needed gold for a mangonel. And so he's not in a rush to drop a castle. He's got 6 villagers on stone. The 2 knights here that absolutely wrecked that Feudal Age Incan army are still here, but we'll see for how long Hera sees them. So he's going to clean them up real nice. Probably be able to one-shot each one. Yep. They charge straight into their deaths. Looks like the crossbows did take a little bit of HP damage. Where are you going? Decent split from Hera. Does save himself the trouble of having to train new crossbows because these ones are DED dead. But MbL, I think MbL has enough villagers here to repair this mangonel if he wanted to. And there is the castle laming that off-campus gold. Ooh, I mean, MbL must have seen the gold up here, right? Did he see the third gold? Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why it took me so long to say yes. So he's laming this gold right now. He's laming the potential of this gold, kind of, because the 3 of the 4 patches look pretty safe. And let's see. The bombardment begins. I love the karambits when they attack. They take a very big step forward. It's a very cool animation. Hera has a monk here. He is going up to Imperial Age. Our Inca is going up to Imperial. Okay. So let's see. I'm assuming hopefully not out of this town center. Okay. Are we going to get to see arbalests? It definitely looks like we're seeing a archer commitment here. And now MbL is taking the safer gold. Karambits take their anger out on a farm. Crossbows, what are your upgrades? +2, soon to be +2, +1. And Hera immediately walls off the south of his base. Doesn't want any kind of shenanigans. University up for him. Yeah, he's definitely going archer play, right? With a university, another town center to replace the one that has fallen. Hera's got 8 villagers on the stone. And now our Malay is going up. Even though he clicked up a minute or so behind, look at the up times. He's going to be only 15 seconds behind Hera. Let's compare. Now Hera, 190 seconds, so just over 3 minutes. Unlike Castle, which is just under 3 minutes. This is just over 3 minutes. The Malay in 114. So they go up 76 seconds, more than a minute and a quarter. For those inclined to think that way, or a minute and 14 seconds quicker. Villager count for our Inca is significantly ahead. Why? He's been on 3 town centers for a while, let's say 2 or 3, whereas our Malay is just adding a 2nd town center right now, although that has allowed our Malay to have a significant army count. 38 karambits. No more coming out of this castle. No more coming out of that castle. And both players are now in Imperial. Let's take a look at what the players will do. The question is, what do we think MbL is going to do? Is he going to do a full frontal attack with all of his karambits? Now they are fully armored, by the way. Plate mail armor automatically free, like the Koreans get for their archers. Do we think he's going to go full frontal, just shove right in? Do we think he's going to try to do multiple run-bys? He has seen... Oh, no, he hasn't seen the 2 new town centers. Oh, MbL might want to do some scouting, and Hera placing down an outpost, Thumbring, Ballistics, Bracer. Gee, I wonder what he's going. So it might have to be a full frontal. MbL does not have any kind of inside knowledge of Hera's base. He hasn't been here in a long, long time. Although you never know, maybe some kind of army will come from the north. No, he's not training. MbL's not training any army at the moment. He's got his 1 Treb out. He's going after the siege workshop. Has he even seen the castle? No, he hasn't. And he's going up to Onager. Fantastic. 1 player doubling down on archers, 1 player doubling down on onagers. And let's freaking go. Oh, no. Hera doing what Hera loves to do. Hey, you press into me, I'm just going to attack you right back. Is he perhaps expecting to see reinforcements on this side of the map? Because so far, there are none coming. And in 22 seconds, he's going to see an onager. But unfortunately for MbL, as cool as the transition to onager is, the archers you're trying to pancake, to splat, to kill, they're up here. And your onagers are down here. So at best, you're going to be killing mangonels. It's just, I guess, not a bad bronze medal. A 4th town center for Hera as his archers now engage into the front of MbL's base. This 1 elephant inside the stable cannot be attacked, so he's nice and safe. Hera's taking some pretty big risks here with his crossbows, maneuvering them, but in 40 seconds, they're going to be arbalesters. And now here we go. Now MbL has discovered something. No, still hasn't seen any of these 3 V-shaped town centers. He might discover arbalesters in 18 seconds. Nope, he gets cleaned up. Another small force of karambits keeping tabs on here. Oh, if he only saw the town center. Now Hera. Hera Hera got pancaked and I missed it. Oh, this is so gross. This is so gross. Oh my goodness. I mean, counter units are one thing. It looks like oh my god, I'm just missing mangonel shots all over the place. And here we go, full frontal, full sidle attack. Monk falls, Treb will fall, Castle will fall, and all of a sudden Hera, without an offensive force, is left with 9 army count arbalesters. Luckily for him, he does have 3 archery ranges. Unluckily for him, he just lost his defensive castle, which means these karambits are going to be running amok, at least for a little bit, until the arbalesters can get their shit in order. But I was about to say, counter units are something fun to watch, but a good onager pancake is fantastic to watch. I mean, do onagers technically count as a quote-unquote counter unit to archers, or are they just very good against archers? Right? Because they don't have any kind of special bonus attack against archers. It's not like a pikeman versus a knight, or a skirmisher versus an arbalest, or a camel versus, I don't know, any kind of man on a horse. Those are technically counters. They come with bonus attacks against those units. Onagers technically do counter. Oh no, Hera? Oh, perfect split, but does still actually perfect with an asterisk. Still does lose a single unit, and he is going on the offensive. He's almost got enough stone for yet another castle. Will take the secondary stone of the Malay as the Malay engages into a TC. Now he's going to discover, oh, by the way, now MbL has seen all 3 town centers, and now he's got to get a move on because Hera's about to slam into him with a couple of castles. Oh, weak as shit villagers chasing in onager as weak as shit karambits are chasing them. The battle of the WAS. Karambit only a +1 attack upgrade, not elite. So much food required to upgrade your mangonels into onagers. Is Hera paying attention here? Is MbL? I'm just sitting and watching. I know there's supposed to be commentary, but oh my goodness, Hera manages to get all 4. Not that MbL was being very active with these onagers, but to lose all 4, and now you're going to lose 3 trebs as well. What an absolute sour development here for MbL, who, just like he did to Hera over here, is going to lose his entire army, and he gets dropped to 12 army count. And unfortunately, whereas Hera had 9 arbalesters, this is mostly karambits. As we saw, the upgrades are not great. There's a second castle from our Inca, who now is back up to 30 arbalests. Repairing the castle. Arbalester gets pancaked. A couple of volleys miss. MbL with the attack rounds. Perfectly timed, perfectly placed. That damn outpost is finally down, but it came at the cost of 2 karambit lives. And let's take a look to the south. The Malay army is in stunned disbelief. MbL, who pressed in so hard and so well, is now in shambles. 18 army count, 12 of it karambits. He is defending now. He's on the aggressive over here, but he's not doing anything on the aggressive over here. Oh no, looks like another onager is going to fall. Maybe not. Enter into the minimum range. Beautiful. Now he's going to snipe the repairing villagers. Fantastic play out of Hera. These are not Korean mangonels with 1 minimum range. They need 3 tiles to fire, which means bye-bye mango. Bye-bye castle. 1 last treb remaining as well. Looks like this one fell. All of a sudden, there is action all over the place, and MbL chooses this moment to pounce. This is a very exposed farming community here for our Inca. But like I said, the karambit is not exactly the fastest unit. It's a pretty fast for infantry. 1.32 is not bad when you consider the fact that a Woad Raider is 1.38. So literally 0.06 tiles per second slower than a Woad Raider. MbL is throwing in rams. He's capped at 100 population. And what is streaming across? Kamayuks are streaming across. Why is Hera going Kamayuks? Oh my god. I mean, this game has it all. The kill count is not that great. One player has a lot more military kills, one player has a lot more villager kills, but so much freaking action happening all over the map. All of a sudden, a karambit is trying to get some villagers over here. Karambits are running away from arbalesters over here. A single ram, capped though it is, is moving forward. It probably will get the Treb if it goes after the Treb, yeah. But the Kamyuk will be able to get that one as the red Treb falls as well. More units for Hera are dying. Army counts are very low for both, but MbL's villager count is at 95 to 112. His aggression down to the bottom right is not even starting, let alone being stopped. And now a single Arbalester should be enough to get rid of the Karambit. Will he get the gold nugget carrying villager before he dies? He does. So that Karambit does die a hero. And now Hera's streaming, feeding individual Kamyuks into this hungry death machine of a town center. Oh no, and what do? You've got 2 onagers. Why is he training a 3rd onager right now? Our Malay has 1 last castle left. The onagers pop out. Oh, beautiful. They split up. This reminds me of skirmishers in Feudal Age fighting a scout. They split up. Oh my goodness, fantastic. I did not expect both onagers to survive. And let's take a look at what's going on to the south as well. Now these Karambits are running into a freshly built castle. They both die, and with them go all the hopes of our Malay. I mean, that game was quite standard and kind of slow for the first 20-25 minutes, and then all of a sudden shit literally hit the fan. I mean, Hera must have taken the pancaking here very personally. He just absolutely rebuilt his economy. Then he got pancaked again. I mean, it's absolutely epic game at the end there. Unfortunately, I'm trying to how do I put this? I'm trying to see the big picture for both players, and both players have just made absolute fantastic moves. MbL with this very bottom right attack, he did stop 2 piles of gold from being mined for Hera, but Hera, of course, just expanded to the upper left side of the map, takes the neutral middle of the road kind of gold. But kudos to MbL for initially placing this castle here, literally laming 8 patches of gold. And with that laming, it forced Hera to move out, and MbL looked almost unstoppable for a few minutes there with that siege onager count, the Karambits. Then he just engaged into that castle, lost a whole bunch of units. The Karambits fell, and when the Karambits fell, those onagers were undefended against the Arbalesters. I don't know if MbL really expected Hera to rebuild his army so quickly after he had that pancake situation here where he lost all of his Arbalesters. But Hera with 3 archery ranges, now up to 6. Actually, let me zoom out even more. Up to 6 archery ranges. At the time, he only had 3. But he did manage to replace. And to be fair, you don't really need that many units to kill Karambits. Like I said, on the whole, very flimsy unit. Look at those stats. 30 HP is ridiculous. 7 base attack. Armor is fantastic, of course, because, you don't have to pay for it, and anything that's free is great. But ultimately, Hera just withstood the assault to the south, expanded to the west, and more importantly, to the north, took the secondary stone from his opponent, and with that, plopped down an extra castle, got out the Trebs, and even though he, got pancaked a couple of times this game, ultimately his military-industrial complex was just too much for the Malay, and when you're relying on your unique unit, and you've got 1 castle, how many light years away from the battle? Look at how far away this castle is from the actual battlefield in front. There is literally no defender's advantage here. MbL doesn't have a single structure that can train military units now that the siege workshop has fallen. And honestly, what the hell are you going to do with siege workshops against Kamyuks? Although, to be fair, I say that. And he flattened 4 of them with 2 siege onagers. So there you go. That ultimately, MbL has no military-industrial complex left at home. To the south, he's got 1 castle, training at most 1 Karambit at a time. And fair enough, they do train fairly quickly. But I think seeing that this castle is up now defensively and he can no longer raid over here, because his Karambit is dead. And now he's being pressed into with absolutely no way to defend himself at home. MbL just realizes that the writing's on the wall, throws in the towel. 75 Arbalesters to 111 Karambits. And I'm glad we got to see Kamyuks, as odd as it was to see them being streamed 1 at a time towards this town center, which ends the game with 12 freaking kills. Okay. Monks to Trebs, Hera with ridiculous APM 5 minutes ago. MbL with APM in the beginning of the game. Let's take a look at the economies. Okay, yeah, so our Inca about 9,000. They actually 8,500 resources. Relics not playing any kind of role. 8,500 resources is what, 25% bigger economy? even though our Malay took a little bit more gold. Actually, 1,300 more gold is not a little bit more gold when you're training Karambits, because they are ridiculously cheap. They're only 15 gold, 1.5. Everything else going to Hera. Let's see, conversions, 0. Raisings, 20 to 18. What an absolute close game. And at the end, like I said, one player had more military kills, one player had more villager kills. But I think it's just not so much economy or whatever it is. I think it's just military industrial complex is completely missing from the Malay base. And now he cannot even, if you're going to base trade, you have to actually base trade. And with this castle here, no more Trebs out. There's no ability to trade anything here. I guess you can like pivot around to the south, but by the time you go here, Hera's already going to have destroyed your entire settlement. And MbL realizes that, lives to fight another day, taps out. What a ridiculously high level, high strategy game all the way from the very beginning with Hera. I mean, again, this to me is a question mark. Why did he miss this one palisade? He could have gone in, although gone into a town center. So maybe the point of the aggression here was more of a skill check than it was to actually bust into the base. But what an absolute fun game. I'm glad we got to see Karambit Warriors. I'm glad we got to see as little as we did the Kameyuks. Look at that ridiculous spear. And Arbalesters out of our Incas, just absolutely champions for them, as the Onagers were champions for MbL. Unfortunately, even though he got a ridiculously good amount of pancakes to the left and to the right here, MbL just could not sustain his settlement against the counter Incan aggression. And if you're playing against Hera, I've said this before, you have to expect that counter aggression, and MbL just has nothing here to defend against it. Realizes that, taps out. It is Hera, our Inca in blue, who is victorious, but GG in a super fun, super strategic game to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.